Hello there, all you calculus students out there. Today we're going to go over the Chapter 3, Section 1 to 4 practice test. Hopefully after watching this video, you should ace the test. So the first question, find the derivative of f of x using the limit definition at a point. The limit definition at a point of a derivative. We said in class was the limit as h approaches 0 of f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. So let's get organized. What is our f of a plus h? Well, our a is -1, so that's -1 plus h. Plug that in, we get -1 plus h squared minus -1 plus h. So if we FOIL that out, we get 1 minus 2h plus h squared plus 1 minus h. So if we simplify that, we get 1 plus 1 is 2, negative h, negative 2h is negative 3h plus h squared. Okay, so I'm going to start writing in some of this information. The limit as h approaches 0 of, well, what's our f of a plus h? 2 minus 3h plus h squared. Minus, well, what is our f of a? F of a is -1 squared minus -1. That's 1 plus 1, 2. So we're going to be subtracting 2 on the top, and it's all over h. So next up, what cancels? We have a 2 and a -2. So we have the limit as h approaches 0 of -3h plus h squared all over h. Luckily for us, we have an h to cancel on the top, so I can factor out h. That gives me -3 plus h all over h. H's cancel. The limit as h approaches 0, -3 plus h. Plug in 0. We get -3. Notice that our limit definition of a point is similar to the limit definition of a derivative, and that's the next problem. So let's look at it. We want to find the derivative of f of x equals x squared minus 12x using the limit definition. So step 1, write the limit definition. The limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Next up, we want to find out what our f of x plus h is. So how do we do that? Well, wherever we see an x, we're going to write an x plus h. So we have x plus h squared minus 12 times x plus h. Distribute, we get x squared plus, multiply the 2 and double it, 2xh plus h squared minus 12x minus 12h. Okay, and then just to be helpful, what is our f of x? F of x is x squared minus 12x. So let's plug that into our limit definition. So we have the limit as h approaches 0 of, well, what's our first term? X squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 12x minus 12h. Subtracting, what's our f of x? X squared minus 12x. What I can do is I can distribute this negative. So that makes this negative x squared, and that makes positive 12x all over h. Now let's start simplifying terms. We have x squared here. We have a negative x squared. Those cancel. We have a negative 12x here. We have a positive 12x. Those cancel. Everything else that we're left with has an h in it. That's exactly what we want. So the next step, we have the limit as h approaches 0 of 2xh plus h squared minus 12h. Everything else is gone, all over h. Everything has a h, so we can factor an h out. The limit as h approaches 0. H on the outside, 2x plus h minus 12, all over h. Now we have top and bottom, so the h's cancel. Last step, the limit as h approaches 0, we have 2x plus h minus 12. When we plug in 0, our derivative of our function is 2x minus 12. Now from the beginning, we can look at this problem and double check our work. We can use the power rule to check. If we do the power rule, bring down the 2, 2x, subtract 1, so it's 2x minus 12. We got it right. Next up, third problem. If f of x is defined as above, find the equation of the tangent line to the graph at x equals 2. Okay, well we just found the derivative of this function is, let's write it, f prime of x is 2x minus 12. I want to find the equation of the tangent line, so I need the slope and a point. Well, what is the slope at 2 of this function? Plug in 2. 2 times 2 minus 12. So 4 minus 12. So the slope is negative 8. Well, if I have my slope at negative 8 and my point's at 2 comma something, I'm going to utilize the original function to find out the y value. So what's f of 2? Well, we have 2 squared minus 12 times 2. So that gives me 4 minus 24. So I'm at negative 20 at f of 2. So I have a slope and a point. How do you write the equation for the tangent line? It will be y minus a negative 20, so y plus 20, equals negative 8, x minus 2. This is in point slope form. Simple, easy. Next up, looking at this picture, which I should have overlaid over the screen, what are we looking for to find out which graph is related? Well, if you look at graph A, where does this graph cross the x-axis? How is that related to the visuals, to the maxes and the mins of the function given? So let's take a look at this function. We have a max between negative 2 and 1. So I should expect to have a 0 between negative 2 and 1. Well, so far, only A and C have a 0 where this crosses at between negative 2 and negative 1. Let's check for our next maximum or min of our function. So the next minimum comes in at between negative 1 and 0. So I should cross the x-axis between negative 1 and 0. Both of these, A is starting to look a little further off. C is starting to look more like the candidate. Let's have another check. We should have a 0 for our derivative where our function has a maximum. So between 0 and 1, we have a 0 at 0. So that takes A out of the equation. The only graph that we should be looking at that makes this function's derivative is C. Next up, besides the power rule, we also have the product rule and the quotient rule. And how do we remember these? Well, The product rule is if we're multiplying two different functions, then the derivative will be, take the derivative of the first, f, we have f of x, derivative of that is f prime of x. Take our second function, derivative of the second function, crisscross applesauce. So it will be f of x, g prime of x, plus f prime of x times g. Pretty simple. Crisscross applesauce. For the quotient rule, if we have our high function and we have our ho function, then the derivative of these two functions we said was ho d high minus high d ho all over ho ho. Ho d high minus high d ho all over ho ho, or ho squared. Pretty simple. Moving on. Question 7 is all about finding the derivatives. So the derivative of a, we can use the power rule because there's just sum and addition, or sums and differences. So y prime is, bring down the 5, 3 times 5 is 15, subtract 1. Derivative of negative 7x squared is, bring down the 2, so negative 7 times 2 is 14. X. Derivative of 4 is 0. So we're done. Next up, b. Y prime is, well, the derivative of 4x squared, bring down the 2, 4 times 2 is 8, subtract 1 from the degree. So 8x minus, well, bring down the negative 2, so that changes that to plus, 2x, subtract 1 from negative 2, so that's negative 3. Another valid answer is 8x plus 2 over x cubed. That's just taking away the negative exponent. I'll take either of these answers. Problem C, I automatically see that I have a division sign here, so I need to use the quotient rule. So let's just get out a little bit more room so we can write. What's my high function? Is 4t minus 9. What's the derivative of that high function? 4. What's my ho function? 4t minus 9. What's d ho? 4. We want ho d high, 4t minus 9 times 4, minus high d ho, 4 times 4t minus 9. I noticed that I already made a mistake. My high function should be my top function, which should be 3t minus 2. So that means my derivative is 3. So I went ho d high, so this should be 3, minus high d ho, 4 times 3t minus 2, all over ho ho, 4t minus 9 squared. So this looks messy, so let's simplify this. 3 times 4t is 12t. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27, minus 4 times 3t is negative 12t. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8, all over 4t minus 9 squared. So the last bit, y prime is, well, I have 12t here and negative 12t. These cancel out. Negative 27 plus 8 gives me negative 19 all over 4t minus 9 squared. Last up, D. Oh, I gave you a product rule. So we write our two equations for e to the x plus 1. Derivative of the first one is 2. The derivative of the second one is, well, the derivative of e to the x is e to the x, so this is 4 e to the x plus 1, so that goes away. Crisscross applesauce. I have 4 e to the x times 2x minus 9 plus 2 times 4 e to the x plus 1. Now, just to be perfectly clear, we're going to distribute that 4 e to the x. So I have 4 times 2 is 8x e to the x minus 36 e to the x plus 2 times 4 e to the x is 8 e to the x plus 2. And I see that I have two like terms, so I can simplify this. So I'm going to have 8x e to the x. Negative 36 plus 8 is negative 28 e to the x plus 2. Last bit that we have, story problems. And I love physics problems, so expect to see one like this. The height in meters at a time t in hours of a balloon is given by the formula h of t. What is the balloon's height when it starts moving? Well, let's think about this graph. This is a negative t to the fourth. So this is either going up or it's going down. So what is the height when it starts moving? So this first question, what is the height of the balloon when it starts moving? Well, what time does it start moving? Well, what's h of 0? Well, we have negative 10, 0 to the fourth, plus 70 times 0. So the height when this starts moving is at 0. And we can even say that's in meters. What is the balloon's velocity after 30 minutes? Well, what is velocity? Velocity is the derivative of the height function. Or we can write it as dh dt. So given our function here, what is the velocity equation? Well, our height function is negative 10t to the fourth. So bring down the 4. That makes negative 40 t cubed. Derivative of 70t is 70. So this is asking for the velocity after 30 minutes. And t is in hours. So if we have 30 minutes, that is 0.5 hours. Notice our units. So I'm going to plug in 0.5. Negative 40, 1/2 to the third power plus 70. So that is negative 40 over 8 plus 70. Negative 40 over 8 is negative 5. So my speed, my velocity, is 65 meters per hour after 30. Last bit. Find the maximum height of the balloon. I want to know how high it is when it stops going up. That means my speed is 0. So the velocity is 0 when the height is at its maximum. So we take negative 40 t cubed plus 70, set it equal to 0. So I have 40 t cubed equals 70. T cubed equals 7/4. fourths, cube root of both sides, t equals the cube root of 7 fourths. So if you do that in your calculator and get a decimal, you get what you see right on the screen. Last bit. List at least 2 words, phrases that mean the same as derivative. Derivative means rate of change. Hopefully you get that by now. It means slope. It's the change in y over the change in x as the limit of delta x approaches 0. So as I get closer to a point, we're looking for the slope of a tangent line. All of these mean derivative. Thank you. Hopefully you have a good time on your test. Enjoy.